Hi True Investors, Bridget Cruz here, and I have the pleasure of hanging out with Mr. RJ Palano. Yes, the Hapaneur. Anyways, if you guys missed the training on Hapaneur, he is amazing. Okay, so I want to ask RJ some really tough questions, okay? Because this is what this is all about, is putting him on the spot and seeing if he can hang with me. So, RJ.
Yes.
In your opinion, what is the definition of a true investor?
Well, first we got to make a separation and make a distinction. There's business owners, and many people that have a business that are in the real estate business think they're true investors, or they think they're an investor when really they're not an investor, they're operating a business. To really find out what it's like to be an investor, you really got to go to the E-Myth book and find out what it's like to be working in a business and what it's like to be working on in business. In my opinion, a true investor is somebody that takes their money and they literally invest it. It's not, an investor is not somebody that flips houses. That's a business. Okay, just you know, flipping houses is a business. Wholesaling houses is a business. Buying them, fixing them, and taking them to retail, that's a business. When you start buying them and holding them, Bridget, that's when you become a true investor.
I got a stake in it.
Well, exactly. And that's really what develops true wealth in this business, because you use the money, in my case, and this may apply to some of you that are watching right now, but the money that I've made flipping houses and taking houses from to rehab to retail, I've used that money for my investments. So that's one way to make the money, to get the money if you don't have the money. And like many of you, I'm sure, I was born with nothing. I came from nothing, which is a great place to come to, by the way, because you certainly start to appreciate everything that you got when you come from nothing. When it's handed to you, it's a lot different. You don't appreciate what you got. So when you come from nothing, you have to find a way to get the money, or you have to develop the skills to be able to negotiate to buy properties that give you creative financing, that you get terms that you can use so you don't need so much money and you can get into many more transactions. And actually that's really how I cut my teeth, negotiating with people and getting them to hold mortgages for me. I built up a portfolio of about 350 houses at one point in my life.
Wow, okay. Okay, so you started off in wholesaling before you started buying notes? Or did wholesaling come in after?
Okay, so if we go back to the beginning of time, I've reinvented myself several times in this business, and you do that based on market conditions and your failures along the way. When you trip over yourself a few times, you just pick yourself up, dust yourself off, and what did I do? What do I got to do now to take advantage of this marketplace? Way back when I first started going to seminars in the very early 80s, and I started with Jack Miller, my greatest mentor of this day, I started to also try to learn how to get into the business. So I would buy houses, but then I learned also how to buy notes, promissory notes secured by mortgages or security deeds or deeds of trust, depending on what area you live in this country. And most of that education came from a guy named John Schaub, who's still out there making it big on little deals in Sarasota, Florida, fantastic, and a guy named Jimmy Napier. And once I understood how to understand the present value of money and how to discount cash flows and how to create yields buying partial notes and mortgages, which is what I really got really good at. Then I understood hard lending and lending. That's where I really cut my teeth. But at that time, any house that I could buy with terms, I would keep. Every single house I would buy with terms. And so the key in this whole business of buying houses is you don't just go on the MLS, which is probably the worst place to buy houses. You only want to buy houses from people that need to sell, okay? If they don't need to sell, then you can't make a good negotiation for yourself to get the kind of terms that you need, whether you're taking over financing or structuring a no interest rate loan from people like we do often. You can't do that stuff without negotiating. So we started getting all these tools, and then it was just a matter of putting everything in place. And it just depends what the tide brought in that day. Did it bring a house deal? Did it bring a note deal? Did it bring this deal? You see, you have to have more than one arrow in your quiver. You have to have more than one solution. If you're a one-trick pony, like all I do is wholesale houses, well, you would have got killed. You would have got absolutely destroyed when the market crashed in 2006, 7, and 8. You would have got killed. And most of those people, you know, I had one friend, he goes, I can tell a real estate investor and how involved they are by how much vodka they drink. That's literally what one of my friends told me. And he was starting earlier in the day, every day, because he got hung out to dry. I got hurt too. But it's a matter of reinventing and going forward and really becoming a true investor by buying houses that will continue to support your lifestyle. You see, that's really the whole deal here, guys. Because if you become a true investor, okay, you can have enough houses that will replace your income. Okay, think about that now. Isn't that what we all want? Nobody really wants to get up and go to work today. I know guys, okay, that retired, and I had an epiphany a couple years ago because I talked to an investor from California, and I asked him, Mike, are you still going to retire? And he goes, yeah, and I'll probably get a part-time job. Subsequently, he did retire. Then I realized all the people, all my friends that talk about retiring, they work for somebody else. Guys like us, ladies like Bridget, we don't retire.
What's retirement?
Yeah, we get tired once in a while.
Right.
Okay, my goal is to get retired before I become completely retarded, but that's another story. The thing is, guys like us, we just keep on going because that's how we're wired. That's how we're driven.
Yeah.
We find purpose. We find passion in all of that.
Yeah.
So retirement is it's not on.
My family, my parents especially tell me, slow down. You really need to take a break. I'm like, what's a break? Yeah, I do. I take Sundays off. I relax. I take vacations with my family. But the rest of the time, it's like, that's boring. Life is to be lived, right?
Absolutely. And if you love what you do, you'll never work a day in your life.
Exactly.
Okay. And so it's really a matter of creating these opportunities for yourself. Because one of the greatest questions ever asked to me in a seminar was this, and it was by Jack Miller. He asked everybody, how much money do you need a month if you had no debt? So imagine no debt on your house, no debt on your car. You people watching this, write this down. How much money do you need a month? And you'll have answers from $3,000 to $100,000 a month.
Absolutely.
Which are kind of silly.
Yeah.
Because nobody really needs that kind of money.
No.
I don't know what kind of a lifestyle that is.
Right.
But then the next question becomes, how many free and clear houses do you need to achieve that lifestyle?
Right.
So you have to understand if they're free and clear, you got a management fee, you got to pay taxes, insurance,
Right.
and some maintenance, and you work out that number.
Right.
So let's just pretend. Pretend your number is you need $7,000 a month. So if you need $7,000 a month, and let's just pretend that you buy a house for $100,000 and it nets $700 a month. Okay, you need about 10 houses, so you need $1 million to get you to that spot. But if you're young, like Bridget, and people younger than her, you can buy houses on terms, and guess what? Eventually they'll pay off and you're free and clear. So if you can negotiate great terms today at low interest or no interest, eventually that stuff's paid off and you can now have the lifestyle you want, and you don't have to be like the guy that's taking a video of me right now who's got to show up tomorrow to get paid. You can stay home and get paid by the rents that you're collecting and never have to work again, which is basically was one of my goals all my life. And you know, I hit a couple of roadblocks along the way. Life is like this sometimes, and I ran right past it last year and I was like, whoa, what just happened here? So goals are so powerful, but understanding what it takes to become an investor, and do not kid yourself, you need to be able to negotiate. It is the highest paid work in the industry, in the world. If you can negotiate, you can take that information and you can get anything you want in life if you just help enough other people get what you want. It's so true.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, and for some of our true investors that are not quite there, they're still playing the wholesaling game. They're kind of that, like you said, the one-trick pony. Don't get discouraged because we all start somewhere. Franklin and I started off buying rental properties. So rental portfolio, rehabbing and buying and holding was our first method. For me, it was by accident. I bought my first home, which I'm actually selling this month. I've owned it 16 years.
Nice.
I actually built my first home accidentally. My homestead, it was my homestead then, at 21, became my investment property later, and I held it. It was like my little, I've lived in that house 3 times now. It was like a transition everywhere I would go, and that property has been my best investment yet. And so that's what I learned first. I actually didn't learn wholesaling until later, when I realized that some of the deals that I would come across weren't ones I really wanted, and I didn't know I could make the 2, 5, 10 grand quick flip and give it to someone else who did want it, because there's a buyer for every type of property.
Absolutely.
Right?
And what Bridget just said is exactly how my transition was too. I didn't understand wholesaling until I moved to Florida. Everything I bought in New York when I was up there, I kept. But that was my model. No, I'm keeping everything to the end of my life, and I'll give it to my kids or sell it to the tenants. That was my goal. I got to Florida, I was opened up to a whole new world of wholesaling. And I would say, do not ever stop wholesaling. I kind of look at it like this, and here's how it really works for me. Because in this business, the thing that counts the most, besides your knowledge and your ability to take action, is having the opportunities. But you have to create the opportunities. We create the opportunities by lead generation. And there's
Yes.
so many ways to do this, and it changes, it morphs based on the new technologies that are out there. And if you're not on the cutting edge, you're gonna be under the wave, your competition's gonna blow you right by. So I see myself like this every day, and I'm undoing my jacket for this. I see my arms literally out like this, and all the leads coming into this funnel, and they gotta go right down, right here by my eyes. I get to see everything in my business. And we're in a couple different states. And I say, oh, this deal, that's a wholesale deal. This is a retail type, I can't say, but I know what I mean. That's a retail deal. Oh, this one we're gonna buy and hold. This one we're taking subject to. We'll put that over here. That's gonna go in my pension plan where there's no UBIT. This one's gonna go in my other retirement accounts. I look at everything and decide where it goes from there, but you can't do that unless you have the leads that come in that allows you to not just become a true investor, it allows you to make money and profit and monetize all the other opportunities that come your way, which is critical. So you can't be a one-trick pony. You have to have more arrows in your quiver, more solutions to different situations that come your way. As the tide comes in, all boats in a harbor go up. But it's critically important that you have these leads, multiple ones, because first of all, the more you have, the more times and more practice you'll get to negotiate until you really perfect that art. Human relation skills in this business, Bridget, developing rapport is probably the most key thing. You get one shot. If that person's calling you or they're on the internet, however they find you, you got to develop rapport like that, because for people to do business with you, they have to trust you.
Absolutely.
And before they trust you, they got to like you at least a little.
A little bit.
And if you can develop that rapport to get them comfortable with you, you'll create opportunities that other people just can't because they don't know how to talk. And I'm dead serious when I say that.
Exactly. So look, I don't want to have the title anymore of I'm a rehabber or I'm a wholesaler. I mean, I just want to be a true investor, right? I want to be that guy or girl that can look at a deal and go, oh, which way am I going to go with this? There's so many options. Isn't that cool?
Exactly. And then at some point, if you're, because some people have more time than money, other people have more money than time.
Right.
At some point, you can put those people in front of you to buy the houses like I have right now. And you've got all the crews that do the work, and you stand from a top. Still, I'm involved to a degree because I help with the assessments of what we're going to do with the properties. But as you get bigger and better, you start to replace yourself so that you can take yourself out of the picture and let the business run. Because you know what we all want? And if you don't think you want this, trust me when I tell you, you want this. We all want a self-managed business, a business that runs without us. So that I can go play tennis with the guy that's taking a video of this afterward and not care about the rest of my day. So we all want to do what we want, when we want, for how long we want. Becoming a true investor, becoming an expert in the real estate business, being able to solve other people's problems will absolutely allow you to do this. And I'm so grateful and thankful to actually be a part as an advisor to True Investor. And the reason for that is simply this. I love paying it forward. Nobody is a self-made success. Anybody who says that to you, I'm self-made, run in the other direction, because nobody makes it without a team of people. Because none of us are good at everything. I only work on my strengths. I have people and I hire out my weaknesses. And I didn't realize I did that all my life, but I've come to realize recently that I never do the stuff that I don't want to do because I'm not good at it and I hate doing it. So you need to surround yourself with good people, and they will, you're as strong as that weakest link in the chain. They will help perpetuate you to the level that you have if your goals are clearly articulated, or you're not going to go to the spot that you think you're going.
Absolutely. So thank you, RJ.
My
Thank you guys for listening. So there you have it. RJ Palano, the best advisor on this planet.
Exactly.
See you guys.